Okay, let's talk about how you can go from the state that you're currently in right now with finances to one of abundance and just the different stages. So, the modern way to look at this, excuse me, is that you have to increase revenue and decrease expenses. And the excess revenue goes to decrease debt and increase investments. So that over time you go from being an employee to a manager to an owner to an investor. And the general idea is that assets equals income over time. Revenue is I screwed that up, but basically get revenue producing assets to create income over time. Okay, with that as a baseline, at any point along this journey, doing it with someone, a partner, is going to help. It's going to increase your revenue, it's going to decrease your expenses. Because if you live with someone, you share the expenses and you potentially get their income as part of revenue. So that's just kind of a rider on top of all this. Having a business partner, a life partner, or whatever would help with these things. Okay. With that in mind, typically where people start is they have one source of income, so let's call this 1, 2, 3, 4. So one source of income, and it's typically a job. The next stage is you add a side job to day job. Third is you build a business. And then here is you invest in business. So those are the main stages. At each time you're trying to optimize each one. So you could think of these as seasons. In your winter season, you're just starting off with one source of income. In spring, you start working on a side. 3, fall, you build a business. And then summer, you build a business. That's the hardest one. And then 4, fall, you start to capitalize on investment in the business. So that's one way of looking at it. Now let's get a little bit more practical. In order to do that, what you want to try to do is optimize along the way depending on where you're at. So now we're going to look at it through more of a timeline view. So if this is now, let's give room. So let's say this is now, and this is, it doesn't matter. This is the final boss. And then here's the activities. So here's the job. Let's call this day job. Let's call this side job. Let's give it like that. Business. Investments. And I guess let's throw debt down here. Okay. So if you can think of it like this, you can now start to see what activities you do in each season for each of these things. So If right now you only have a day job, then you want to add on a side job. Let's call this next. If you already have a day job, you either want to get a better day job, a better side job, or add a business. And all the while you're wanting to decrease debt. If the debt is zero, then you can be increasing your investments. But at the very end, you're definitely increasing your investments. And you should have no debt by that point. So let's just do it like that. So right here, you can think of it just like a cascading chart. So you're getting a better day job. At this point, you probably don't need a side job because you got a better day job and you got a good business going. Let's call this future. And then here you're making the business better. And here you might sell the business and just have investments. There is no side job, there is no day job, and you're just making your investments better. So you see how you go from being a worker to a manager to an owner to an investor. And that's the model essentially for building wealth over time.